Good morning. We got more snow. Let's go inside. The snow's in the backyard too. Yes, I did that mean that to be funny. Everything all right? Good morning. It's Wednesday, February 5th. Is it the 5th, Sienna? Is it? I think so. Is it the 5th, Thor? Thor? Oh. The store is still a mess. We are inventorying. And we finally moved on to a new month. Right, Mom?
Are we sure?
It's still winter.
What's the forever month?
Yes. So, hello. Hope everybody's doing okay where they are. We've just returned from Vermont. It was a long trip because we hit some bad weather and it took us about 8 hours to drive home.
Long time.
Where it normally takes us 5 to 5.5. But we're here. And we are going to talk about this rug today. We're calling this Sadie's Flowers. And this is now available on the website for punch needle or rug hooking. You can see I'm pleased with how the punch needle came out because I always try to keep it close to the colors that Mom chose. And I was kind of doing it blind from just a single photo I had of a little snippet of her border. And even though the punch needles differ a smidge, just a little bit, I mean, it's going to differ because it's thread, but overall I'm happy with the colors. So what we're going to show you today, and after we film this segment, we're going to head home, and we're going to film a little bit from home, I think, are we?
I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've discussed it before, and but Mom's going to show you more in detail how she does her binding. Because I think we have a lot of new followers, and perhaps we have a lot of new people watching. And we get asked a lot if we sell rug binding, and we don't sell rug binding because, well, first of all, it's hard for me to find. But second of all, we teach to bind the rugs with a strip of wool. We talked about this a couple weeks ago in our video that we had binding rolls now.
Yeah, I have some right down there that I just unrolled. And
So-
I'm going to use this.
So tell them what you're going to do first.
I'm going to cut this off and leave about an inch. Got to be just barely an inch. I'm going to leave, and then I'm going to iron it back
She's going to cut the monk's
so
cloth
that it's
an
like
inch.
this. And then once I've cut it back, and pretend I've cut it here, and because I'm left-handed, I'm going to start, and I'm sure Julie will show you me doing this later on. I'm going to start right over in here with a needle and thread.
When I film you doing this, I will go behind you so that
Okay.
it's that kind of
And
view.
I'm going to match Julie's thread to here. And I'm going to put my needle in, out, in, out, in, out, in, out between my loops, all the way across.
And she goes in between every loop.
I do.
So I'm going to do much the same thing, except my loops are very, very tiny. So I'm not going to do that. But I've already cut mine off the weaver's cloth.
There's a dog here.
And when I get home, I'm just going to lightly steam it because I must have punched tight because it is curling slightly. So I'm just going to give this a light steam, do the same thing that Mom's doing. I miter my corners, and then I'm going to steam it to the back like this. And then what we will do is once we get to that place at home, because it's that time in the day, we're going to then probably sit in our chairs and do the binding tonight.
I do want to, just while it's on my mind and I'm thinking of it, I have two people I want to really thank. I want to thank Wendy for the books. Really appreciate it. I'm going to read both of them and I'm going to pass them on. And I want to thank Marla for the lovely gift she sent me, and I want to tell her that if in the coming weeks she might get a little package because I
Ooh.
so appreciate what she did.
That's very intriguing.
Yes.
I think you might hear the fatigue in our voices. I think it's from our ride yesterday, and it's the end of a long day. So, anyway, so let's stop here, and then we're going to pick it up in about a second here on this video, and we'll be home.
We're going home, but when we go home, are we doing the video, or are you packaging all the meat you got yesterday? And
Oh, we went to
changing that
Costco
around?
yesterday.
Yes.
I'll probably do that. So,
Yeah.
and let you have a little nap.
No, I don't need a little naps. If I have a little nap, I won't sleep tonight, so I don't need a little nap.
All right, we'll see you in 1 second.
Okay.
Okay, so we're home now, and Mom chose a nice big place to lay the rug out, which is on the kitchen island.
And if it bothers anybody to see somebody cut left-handed, used to drive my mother crazy.
She's cutting an inch so that her monk's cloth is an inch beyond the hooked rug. Are those scissors good?
It's my hand.
I didn't get to them yet.
One of the things I want to explain about this is kind of like a hit or miss thing. I just basically went into my brown. All of this doesn't have to be the same, but I made all of this the same. But anything in between, I just went hit or miss with what I had for Mullins Around. They were all just compatible browns.
So if you choose to get the pattern, for me, mine was symmetrical, surprisingly, because I drew it by hand. There were some, like Mom said, I did all of these the same, with a gold center and then a reddish brown and then a light brown and then a black brown around here. Then in between each one I had 4 stripes, or it's 4 lines for 4 sections. But then when I got here I had 5, so I thought, oh shoot, I drew that wrong. But it so happens that I had 5 here, I had 5 here, I had 5 over here, and I had 5 here. So I was able to put a gold strip in each section to match the middle section of each of my little, I don't know what you're going to call those, little
Things.
4-sided
Things.
things. What are they called? There's a math term for that.
I'm calling
It's a thing. So everything worked out symmetrically. Mom wasn't so uptight about the symmetry. She was considering it more of a hit or miss. So she didn't, although it kind of looks like you did. You went with like a purple brown here in the center
I
of
pretty much, well, I had like my piles of browns.
And so you were trying to be somewhat.
And I was trying to be subtle, but I didn't want it to have to be, if you don't do it this way, it's going to be horrible. I'm just moving
Yeah,
this
I
down.
mean, it doesn't matter in the overall scheme. No one's going to go, oh my gosh, you have only two rows here and 1 row over there, or whatever. You know, it's not that way. It's a geometric
My biggest problem that I have
border.
to contend with is that these go this way, and then I put these down this way. So I'm hoping when I put my backing on, that I don't have to fill in right here.
So what she means is that you have a nice.
See, this one seems
This
to
goes
go a
along
little-
the border, and then right here, these 2 end here. So she had toyed with the idea of hooking a row right here to close it all in.
But I'm gonna tough it out. I'm gonna tough it out and see what happens.
Yeah. It's
I
gonna
just-
really
I
not.
just
It's
did-
not. It's not
I
gonna
just
be
was
great.
gonna do one of those left-hand turns there, and that.
It's
would
not going to
just-
be great if if you decide you want to fix it, because now you don't have the room to.
No, then
So
I'll-
this is how it's.
Well, this is what my next one would be if I had to do it. I would put the cord in and put yarn, which is my absolute least. Oh, I really don't want to do that. Okay.
Okay, so now she's got an inch all around her 4 sides, and she's going to. You already did press that to the back. So
I did.
you did. This
Yeah.
finger, I've got a hangnail, so you can see right here that she pressed in here, and then here, oops, and here, and then we're going to go up. So you can see how this starts to come together, and it's actually looking like a hooked rug. I have yet to press mine. So
I
now you're
guess
not
when I
seeing-
started this, I didn't realize it was quite as big as it was. I don't know why, but it just,
it looks to be about, I'm going to say it's about 44 by 24 maybe, approximately. I haven't measured it yet.
I'm going to say,
But
yeah,
that will be on the website, the measurement.
yeah.
So now she's going to go upstairs. We're going to go up with her, and she's going to show you how she puts the binding on. Mom wants to show you how she's going to do this, but this is what's happening here, and this is what's happening there. Hi, Hobbs.
What do you think that was like? For Horacia, she gave her daughter what she
And Mom doesn't want me to show you her room because she just had it painted and it's messy.
It is.
Right,
I
Hobbs?
put that together though.
my father and my mother.
Okay.
Okay.
Mom's using BR71 because it's a nice brown black.
Yeah, and it'll go
Next.
good. So because I'm left-handed, I'm always going to start over in the left side. And I just got a real, I've used some of that in here somewhere. So I'm okay with it. I'm not trying to match it exactly because I would go crazy. Okay, so I'm putting my corner in. I'm putting this corner in. I'm putting this right to the edge.
You don't pin.
No, I do not pin. Right, see, I've put my needle in there. I'm coming out.
That was in between the loops, not through the loop.
Yes, in between. So then when I put it back in, I go in here, but I go over to the next. So that when I bring that next piece of thread up, and I'm a little bit cautious when I first get started because I want to make sure that I don't wrap it around. So then I go in, but I'm coming out at the bottom of the next one.
And somebody's getting a nice big drink.
That would be Thor.
So you're careful to pull the thread so it lies nicely between each loop.
Yes, I want it to go right between each one. Oh, it wasn't Thor. I'm sorry. It was Xena. Hi, Xena. I'm sorry, but I'm on film right now. Sometimes this living room is like a zoo. Tonight being being the thing. Okay, so see, until I get going good, I have to kind of guide
I'm going to come over on this side.
where I'm going. But you can see how, I don't know if you can see, is the thread so good matching that you can see that, can't you? Right there?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going to go around all of this like this.
So she's pulling it so that it goes right up to those loops so you're not going to see
Yeah.
any monk's cloth.
And I don't put a pin or anything. And see, I just hold my finger up there like that. And then it starts to, as I go along further, it just starts to kind of glide into that spot. Don't do that. When I do that, I get very upset.
She likes a nice big strand so she doesn't have to rethread it.
You're right.
But then occasionally it will do this.
It will do this.
I'm just doing a light steam. For some reason, I'm not a tight puncher, but this is kind of curling at the end, so it leads me to believe that I maybe did go a little bit tighter on those edges. I don't want to smush those loops down, but I am giving this just a little bit of a press. And now what I'm going to do is flip it over. I'm going to miter each corner like that and press it down. Okay, I've got each of those 4 corners pressed in and steamed. Now I'm going to press this side and this side in. My right and my left side are pressed in. When you're pressing the sides, be sure not to push or to pull too much because you don't want these loops to pull away and leave like a white weaver's cloth spot right here. So you just want it to just fold over and give it a quick press. Now we're going to do the top and bottom. Okay, I have all 4 sides done. It's pressed nice and straight. So you can see that from the front, you don't see any weaver's cloth. But now what I'm going to do is place it on a piece of wool, cut it to size, and then I'm going to stitch an entire whole cloth backing. When I say a whole cloth backing, I mean that I'm just going to cover the entire back. I'm not going to do strips like Mom did. So what I'm going to do is lay that here on this like that, and I'm going to cut my fabric. I cut my fabric so that it's just a hair bigger. Just, you can see just a little bit bigger, because when I'm stitching, I like to do like what Mom did, but pull it so that the wool is going to come up to meet the loops on the side. Okay, so I've cut my piece of wool to the shape of my piece. I am going to pin it on so that as I'm stitching, it does not shift. So the next step will be pinning and then stitching. So you can see that I've pinched all the layers together, and I'm inserting my needle through the front of the loops. I do have a knot at the end of my needle, at the end of my thread, but that will disappear within those loops. So I pull the thread over because I want to see where the thread is going to go. And as I'm inserting the needle, I'm inserting it under my thread that I have pulled over. Pull the thread over, insert the needle just under it, go through all 3 layers, and then as I'm pulling the thread over, you'll see that it's kind of manipulating that piece of wool right into place where I want it to be. Where I want it to be is to come up and sort of kiss or hug those loops so that you don't see any weaver's cloth. So there you can see all my stitches, and you can see how the wool is pulled up nice and tight right close to those loops. I'm going to continue going around all 4 sides. I did want to show you that when you get to the corner, you want it to look nice and smooth, so because there's a straight edge from cutting it into a rectangular shape, I'm just going to kind of cut that off and make that corner rounded. I'm going to find my needle. And then I'm just going to continue stitching, rounding that corner as smoothly as possible. If I have to trim a little bit more, I will. There's also a little kind of pucker of weaver's cloth there that I'm going to try to tuck down with my finger to kind of push that down as I'm stitching. We don't want it to be popping out of the layers. After I get beyond that sharp curve, if I've got some like little pieces of wool from the pucker that are slightly puckered, I'm just going to very carefully take my scissors and trim, not getting the stitch, but just to kind of give it a seamless curve. Okay, all 4 sides are stitched, and no weaver's cloth is visible. And Thor's getting a drink, if that's what you're hearing. So you can see right here. A nice straight edge. I wouldn't do it to this one, but if you wanted to add some sort of other border, such as like a twisted wool or any kind of extra border onto here with any other fiber, this is when you do it. You would still have to put your backing on first. Then you would go ahead and add any additional, like a twisted wool edge or ribbon or anything. But we're going to leave this just as it is.
You know how hard it is to do this with you there? Does it bother you at all? Doesn't bother you?
No, I don't think it does.
Doesn't
All
bother
right,
you?
we're back to Mom.
Okay.
She's rounding her corner now.
I'm right at my corner.
What she's done is she has this whole side complete.
Yes.
She still has, oh, you did
No,
already.
I did that. I've
she
tacked it. You can see it?
I can't find it with my, She tacked this down to the inside portion of the rug.
Yep. So now I've turned the corner, and I'm going to put this in just a couple of,
But you added another strip.
I added another big long strip because now I'm going down the long side. Don't let me bother you, Thor. Which I obviously am not. And you see where my dog is? Down on the floor, pouting. While I'm doing this, I'm going to tell people I'm reading a good book right now called Girl in the Blue Coat. And I would like to make a suggestion. Movie-wise, don't even bother turning on the substance. Worst movie I've ever seen in my life.
You didn't care for it.
Absolutely terrible. If you like horror and gore, it's right up your alley. All right, so I'm just going to put this in here so I can show you what I'm going to do now. Now that I've turned the corner.
You got to get a better image. So you see she's added a strip.
Yep.
Now she's going all the way down this
Yep.
second side.
So this is tacked in a little bit. So now this goes way over to the end. So now I'm taking a pair of scissors, and I will adjust it after, but these scissors are honking big ones.
Do you normally do this at this point, or do you?
No,
do
I
it
usually
later?
do it at the end, but I wanted them to get a chance to see. Okay, so I've done what I call it a cheat miter. So after I'm done putting this all in and I'm coming to tack this, I'm going to start up here, and I'm going to tack that all the way around.
So a cheater miter.
Cheater miter. So the next time people see this rug, it should be totally done. And I'm okay with how it comes out. See that? I've got all different browns in here. This is a plaid. This got some, I call it brownie red, greens and that. I'm okay with it. It looks good.
So that's
And I
how
like
we
the corner.
do the binding. We like the wool strips because we feel that it kind of breathes, whereas sometimes for us, a binding tape can
Yes.
make your edges curl.
Yes.
So we like this because it conforms and it lays flat.
Well,
and it breathes
I
better.
like this better because when you put the rug on the floor, I think it
lays flat.
holds its shape and it just looks nice. And I can say that because when I was in Florida and I first started rug hooking, I used a twill binding, and I've looked at those rugs several times and thought, I'm going to take it out and I'm going to put a wool backing in because it lays so much better. And that's my side of the story.
What are you doing, Thor? Thor, what are you doing? Is that your spot? All right, so this is how we bind our rugs and we finish our backing punch needles. This pattern is called Sadie's Flowers, and it is available today. So thanks for watching, everybody, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.
And be kind.